Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Anubis here with the branding with you guys today. I hope you all are having a good day and welcome to my channel. Do all the things, the algorithm likes, and follow me on Twitch. Links in the box below. With me in a lot, it's getting pretty lonely over there on the Twitch side of things. But today, though, we're going to do our Hogwarts Legacy review. And as you all know, anyone who's new to who is frequent with my channel when it comes to my reviews, before I get into the videos themselves, I talk about my background with the franchise, so you guys know my experience, you guys know what you're getting into when it comes to me give my opinion. I don't like to give an empty opinion, so like I want you guys to know what the background is for me as a person when it comes to any franchise I do a review on. So for this, not much to say other than I've only ever seen one Harry Potter movie, never read any of the books, and that one movie I saw was the very first movie on a school field trip in theater. So you're thinking back elementary school. I'm 31, so this is a long time ago, so I don't really have any experience with Harry Potter. Never read the books, only seen one movie. Never really been interested in this this universe or this franchise as a whole. So take with that what you will as we get into this review. So let's put Hogwarts Legacy on scale of judgment, shall we? Hogwarts Legacy takes place a century before the Harry Potter story, which is great because that makes it easier to get into when you don't know anything about the franchise. You play as an overpowered fifth-year student who was the first person in a very long time to be able to see and use an ancient form of magic. We actually did a video talking about the game's character creator before, so I'm not going to really dive into too much about the character creator. I'll have that video attached at the end of this video, but briefly I'll say it's one of the better character creators lately in modern video games, especially when it comes to big titles. So let's jump right into talking about the story of the game. As I said, you play as a very powerful wizard or witch who learn spells fast as hell and do whatever you want, basically. While you learn the necessary things for fifth year at Hogwarts, there's a potential goblin uprising on the verge of being birthed, and at the heart of it is a man named Ranrock, who knows you not only possess a threat to him, but knows that you have information vital to his plan. So he and his loyalists hunt you down while you are also actively trying to ruin his plans. Without spoiling much of anything, I don't really want to get into too many like spoiler details when it comes to reviews, so it's going to be like a very quick review. So don't want to do too much talking about all the fine details of this game. Just want you guys to know if you should play it or not. So I think the story is okay. It's well written. It's immersive enough. The voice acting is very good across the board for every single character in the game. Its biggest flaws is a lot of the plot points seem to wrap up pretty quickly. This might be an open world RPG, but it's not very long, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You know, we have all these games that try to push for being 100 hours long. Because of that, they ended up being like drags and very boring and not interesting enough. Sometimes it's okay for games to just, you know, to be short, but at the same time, if it's the plot is going by too quickly, that could also be a problem. It could be pacing. Maybe the game paces itself so fast to where it seems like the plot is very quick, when in reality it might not be. A lot of the game's side quests are generic open world game side quests, aka fetch quests. I wish there was more interactions with the other students. Some students will give you a side quest, and that's in that one time is the only time in the entire game you interact with those students, which is kind of lame, to be honest with you. But there is an exception to that. There's 4 students, Nat, Sai, Sebastian, Poppy, and Ominous. Those 4 are tied to multi-mission side stories, which is great. I always love when games have a side story and not just side quests. Those are different things. Side quests, again, like fetch quests, go to do this, and that's it. Where side stories are, you know, self-contained plots within a game or within a movie or TV show that involves other characters. It gives them more depth and more story for those characters. With Poppy, you help her deal with poachers, as well as you help out some centaurs. And with Natty, you help her deal with some dark wizards and a gang of dark wizards that's basically being a pain in the ass of the people of Hogsmeade. With Sebastian and Ominous, their story is tied together. You meet Ominous through the Sebastian questline. In Sebastian's questline, you are tasked with trying to help him lift a curse on his sister. All of those are really good. All those characters are great, and because of that, you're left wanting more interactions with students, more subplots, more sub stories with other students as well. That's kind of like one of the biggest issues I have with this game's story. It's just the lack of that interaction with other students. For the most, and even when it comes to teachers, like one of the, I keep saying, like when it comes to Hogwarts as a school, it's a very beautiful school. It looks amazing, and you don't really spend a lot of time in the school. Like, I know it's an open world game, but the title of the game is Hogwarts Legacy. you don't spend a lot of time within Hogwarts itself. You're not actually, you learn a few spells from teachers, but you don't really interact with all the teachers. You barely interact with Professor Black, who's like, he's like in charge of Hogwarts at this time period. You barely interact with him. Like, you see him in a couple of scenes. He's voiced by Simon Pegg. Let's say Sean Penn, Simon Pegg. But you don't really ever interact with him on a very like small level, outside of like learning some spells here and there from some teachers. You don't interact with them a lot. There's very little interaction with Hogwarts as a whole, not just with the students, the teachers, and the school itself. There's very little interaction there, and that's kind of a downside of the game. Now, there are also some side quests with students involved that are basically like mini games. Like, you don't really interact with the students and all that much, but they take part in the mini games with you. Like Summoner's Court, where you have to like use your pool spell to like pull some balls across a board. And then there's also like the flying broom time trials. So there's one person who you talk to when it comes to that, and you basically do a time. It's not like in a real race. You just do a time trial on the broom. There's one where you gotta find like all these keys to open up a special chest for your class. That starts via talking to one student. So there's some mini games and some mini challenges that students will start, but again, there's not really a lot of interaction there. So what about the combat? That's one of the biggest things for a game like this, right? Well, it's a kind of a mixed bag. When everything is flowing the way the game intends, when everything's working the way it's supposed to work, it's very fun, fast, and smooth. However, most times it's clunky. Sometimes you accidentally use your block ability Protego when you're trying to use your Y spell, because to use your Y spell, if you're playing on a controller, for example, you have to hold right trigger and then hit whatever button you had that spell assigned to, and there is a delay in the game recognizing that. So let's say you're trying to use whatever your Y spell is, so you hold right trigger and you hit Y, and then you let go and you're using something else. The game hasn't registered that you let go of Y yet, so it still thinks you're about to hit Y, and you end up basically just doing this animation of trying to use a spell that's on a cooldown, and it just sucks. So basically what I'm trying to say is your actions are, you as a player, your actions are quicker than the game can read. You try to use a spell you have assigned to your A, you accidentally end up jumping. You try to do a dodge after using a spell that you're assigned to B, you end up just trying to use that spell again, and things like that. So it can be annoying, but it isn't awful, and it's not game breaking. You won't be like, oh, I'm done playing this game because I'm so tired of this situation. Ultimately, it's really good and fun combat, and it is one of the biggest draws to it. This is a very, very good game, and the combat is a very positive thing when it comes down to it. Outside of the fact that it can be a little clunky at times. Not all the time, just at times it can be clunky. The boss fights in the game are kind of a letdown. They don't really feel important even when it comes to major bosses. The only major boss that seems like effort was put into him was Ranrock, and without spoiling anything for that fight, it was less about Ranrock and more about something else involving him, that led to him being a more unique boss fight than the rest. But for the most part, a lot of the encounters in the game are very generic and kind of like a repaste of each other, and they're not really all that crazy. Like they don't seem important. The big oof with boss encounters in this game is the existence of the spell Avada Kedavra. Outside of Ranrock, every boss in the game can be one shot by it. When it comes to Ranrock, you can use it on them, but it doesn't actually work on them. But every other boss in the game, important boss, mini boss, doesn't matter, use it on them, they die in one hit, and that kind of just makes the game seem like, even on hard, I played a game on hard, and the game on hard is already easy enough. It's not all that challenging, so now you have a spell that one hits people while playing on hard difficulty. You can see where the issue will lie there. It does take some cool clips if you're into like the whole mysticism behind the spell and the lore of this universe, but again, it just kind of like hurts the game in my opinion a little bit. Like, I'll give you an example of how it can ruin a boss encounter. There's a character in the game named Rockwood. He's one of the major villains in the game. You finally go up against him after like 40 hours of dealing with him and his dark wizards just to like one tap him, and there isn't even like a unique cutscene after. Like, you literally can one tap him with Avada Kedavra, and then your character just says "So long, Rockwood," and walks away. Like, there's no cutscene that plays out, nothing unique about it. But he's supposed to be like a major, like he's basically the number 2. He's like the number 2 bad guy in the entire game, and yet he doesn't seem important in his boss fight. Not only that, his henchman, who's tied to Natty's sub story, also has basically a similar kind of fight as him, where you kind of like just spam a button here and there to fight him, and it's like not only is the second most villainous character in the game just a throwaway villain, but his number two is doing the exact same things that he does. So it's just a lot of the boss encounters in the game are just very lackluster. Now I know some people are wondering if I'll mention the drama surrounding this game. All I will say is that if you want to play this game, play it. If you don't, whatever your reason is valid. You don't have to play the game. What I will say is this: both of those are okay. Both those options, whether you play it or you don't play it. The evil bitch of a lady responsible for the discourse involved in with the drama around this game isn't even involved in the game at all. Yes, she does receive a check because she owns the property of Harry Potter, but it isn't a reason to harass other people who make content. It's a reason to harass people who are talking about the game or who are enjoying it. They're an innocent bystander in the discourse involving the bitch of a lady who made the franchise. But again, she's not involved in this game. The developers deserve to feed their families. If you don't buy the game, the developers can feed their family. So what does someone who have no interest in this franchise think? I think this is a very good game that doesn't make me feel interested in the franchise itself, as in I won't watch the movies. Like, it doesn't make me want to go read the books. Like, I enjoy this game. I really do enjoy this game. But I won't be like, oh, this is so good, I'm gonna go watch Harry Potter or read the Harry Potter books. The reason why this game is so good without that ability is because the character is my character. I'm invested in my own character. Harry Potter isn't my character. I'm not Harry. So I'm more invested in this game than I would be interested in, the film franchise and the books. But I do, like I said, really enjoy this game. I'm going to replay it for each house. I played my first character was Gryffindor. I took the online quiz a few months ago, and that's what they put me in. I didn't select my house for my first character. My other characters, I will select my house, but for my first character, my primary character, I got sorted on with the online quiz, and I got put into Gryffindor. But as I said, it's a very good game, fun experience. The atmosphere is great. The visuals are stunning. This game looks so good. Like, it's a visually astonishing game. Like, again, the atmosphere is lovely. The voice acting across the board is pretty freaking good. Sometimes you can hear like a little bit of audio distortion in some people's voices, but it's very rare. The character creator better than most. The combat is clunky at worst, but fun and smooth at best. I am fully immersed in this game when playing it. Definitely one of the best games I've played in the last few months. I really hope they do release more content, more spells, missions, and whatnot. They already announced that they don't plan on it, but the key word is they don't plan, as in they could in the future if asked to by the publishers, things like that. So hopefully we do see more content for this game. We did get an announcement yesterday. By the time of the video, this video is recorded on 24th. The 23rd, WB announced they're going to be doing a TV series of Hogwarts Legacy. So there's going to be some form of content coming out when it comes to this franchise, and I'm looking forward to it. I will watch Hogwarts Legacy TV series because, again, I'm invested in this game. But this game was a great ride, and with all of that, that is it for my review. Thank you all for watching. Do all things algorithm likes. Hogwarts Legacy, good game, surprised me. I didn't expect it to be a good game, but it's solid. WB, y'all been struggling, WB, but this one's actually pretty good. But thank you all for watching. Like I said, do all things algorithm likes. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Follow me on Twitch, link in the box below. Having your boy Numis Money here. Deuces.